coming into effect from 8 a.m. Saturday. We are going to extend those limits of people inside your homes to 10 people and those gatherings outside to 10 on the Gold Coast, and the same restrictions we put in place for aged care, for hospitals and disability service providers will also cover the Gold Coast as well. We have to take this cautionary approach. I think everyone would agree. We acted very swiftly when it came to those earlier cases with the Brisbane Youth Detention Centre, and we know that people travel a lot from the Gold Coast to Brisbane, so now it makes absolutely perfect sense to extend that. So Dr Young will go into further details about that. I also just want to address the issue of schoolies. Now, of course, we know we are in a different time at the moment, and of course the world's going through a global pandemic and things aren't as they would normally be. And can I first of all commend, all of our teachers out there, the students, and the fact that we actually have people attending our schools in Queensland. There has not been those huge disruptions to classroom education that we have seen in Victoria and we have seen in other parts of the world. And of course, I think there are even comments being made about in Europe at the moment, there are concerns about schools going back with large outbreaks of coronavirus in countries such as France overnight. So what I want to say to everyone is I want to thank everyone for the way in which our schools have been open and the way in that the whole education system has responded. So we've had to look at this issue very seriously and from a cross-agency perspective, but fundamentally, as Queenslanders know, we always listen to the health advice, and the Chief Health Officer has deemed the event of Schoolies, it is a mass event over multiple days, is high risk. So the schoolies that we have come to know over the years will not be able to go ahead in that form this year.
So we have 3 new cases of COVID-19 in Queensland from overnight, and all 3 cases are linked to the Corrections Training Centre at Wacol. 2 of those people live in the Gold Coast, 1 of those people lives in Forest Lake. So because of that, we now need to extend the restrictions that are currently in place for all of Brisbane, Ipswich, Logan, all of those areas. We need to extend them all the way down to the Gold Coast. The reason being is that all of these cases we have seen related to the Corrections Training Centre have been in younger people who've had, fortunately for them, of course, very mild symptoms, extremely mild symptoms. And I'm not quite sure of how it's spread within that centre, who's the primary case because of the mild nature of symptoms. We're just working that through at the moment, but clearly we do have those linked cases and we do have those 2 people who live down the Gold Coast. So to protect the most vulnerable, which is our elderly citizens, that's why we need to bring in those restrictions for aged care. Then to protect the people going into our hospitals, we need to bring in that requirement for that additional enhanced use of personal protective equipment in all of our facilities. Plus we need to look at visitors going in and out of areas where there are more vulnerable people, disability accommodation services and so forth. So all of that will be happening and it will be in place for 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So people can maintain their parties, their arrangements that they have organised for tonight, but because I know all those plans would of course be in place, but from 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, gatherings are limited to 10 in your own home, or if you're out in public and it's a non-organised gathering, wherever we've got COVID-safe plans. So that includes for weddings and for funerals and for restaurants, pubs, clubs, nightclubs, wherever there's a COVID-safe plan, those arrangements can continue because of all the work that's been put in place by all those industry groups, by all of the people involved. They are very good plans. They keep people safe. but we know that in people's own home, no one would expect them to have a COVID-safe plan for a gathering, which is why they are now limited to 10. So it's all of Brisbane going down to the Gold Coast. Now, we don't need to extend it at this point of time beyond those areas to, for instance, the Sunshine Coast, further up the coast, because we don't have cases there, but they have all been restricted to that gathering limit of 30. And of course, if we were to have cases, then we'd also bring in the gathering of 10. But we don't. So this is about Brisbane, Logan, all the way down to the Gold Coast and Ipswich, and that's very important. And that also then, you can see that we've had to make a really tough decision about Schoolies. I personally feel for this group. They've had a really difficult year. This is a rite of passage. Your last year of school is such an important year to get you prepared for going out and joining adulthood, if I can put it like that. It is such an important year, and so much of it has had to change for this group, and I'm really sorry that they won't be able to have the traditional Schoolies celebration. But look, I think this group is one of the most resilient, innovative groups, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they'll put in place instead of that traditional mass gatherings on the beaches and so forth. They'll find other ways to celebrate. I know they will.